Welcome back. I have got another project for you that is a great gift for a new mom. Um, I even tried it out for somebody who works at a desk all day and needs to take a nap. You can put your hands in it and kind of rest your head. But this is by a request from Vivi111. Shout out to Vivi. I feel like I'm on stage like an artist. I want to give a shout out. Anyway, so this is a nursing or bottle feeding arm pillow. Look at this, y'all. And look, it just slides right on your arm. Look at that. And your baby's head can rest right there while you're feeding them. Okay. And so this is going to be such a quick sew up. You all are going to love it. And you're also going to love the fact of the measurements are going to be right there in a description. Okay. And so what you're going to need is some cotton material. You'll also need some polyfil. Just a little polyfil, not a ton. And then you're going to want some batting. I'm using some Low-Loft batting, but you can use whatever batting that you have, okay? And so you'll also need a hand needle, this little guy, okay, for you to close up your hole when you're finished. Grab yourself some straight pins or binding clips. Make sure you also have some scissors. That will be great. And I'll start to give you the measurements so that we can put this project together. Okay, I'm using regular quilting cotton as my main outside piece. I'm using a fleece for my inside, inside layer, not in between the layers, but the inside layer. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm talking about this. That's a fleece that I'm using. You can use Minky dot or Minky, whatever you have on hand that is nice and soft and comfortable to you. So you want to cut both pieces to be 11 inches, okay, by 23, okay? So 11 inches this way by 23 inches this direction, okay? And then for your batting, because I'm using a low loft, I needed to do about 3 layers. And so this is at 10 and a half by 23, okay? And so I've got 3 layers, of it, all right? So go ahead and cut those, and then I'll meet you back here and we'll start sewing this up. All right, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your fleece and you want right side up, okay? And then you're going to take your print of your cotton, and if you've got a tag or something, go ahead and put it on. I put mine about 3 inches from the bottom centered, okay? So go ahead and take it and you're going to put right side down, right on top of the fleece. Now, if you want to quilt your batting with your outside because you want to do a pretty design, by all means, go ahead and do that, first. Otherwise, this is going to be a quick sew and stuff project, okay? So we have right sides touching each other, okay? And now what we're going to do is we're going to pin our long sides, both of our long sides here. Okay, so your fabric should look like this on both long sides, okay? Now we're gonna go over to the machine and I want you to sew 3/8 of an inch seam allowance just on those long sides that we just pinned, okay? Okay, great job. We've got both of our long sides stitched, and so now we need to create the full circle, okay? And this is what I want you to do, all right? Grab your material and everything, just let it lay flat, okay? See that? Now, we're gonna grab one hand with the cotton, trying to make this simple as possible. Grab the other one with the fleece, like you're pulling them apart. See how I'm like pulling them apart? All right. Now, take this side and just stuff it, push it inside. See how I'm doing that? Just push it inside. And keep pushing it until you've reached the outside. Ah, look at there. All right, and so if you look, we brought both ends together. I know this does not make sense logically. I know it doesn't. But trust me, it works. So you should be able to look straight down and see, an opening, okay? And when you look this way, this side is folded. This whole entire side is folded, okay? All right, so right here, we're gonna match up our seams, okay? So I'm gonna open up my seam just by my hand. We're not gonna iron anything right here because fleece will melt with ironing. So go ahead and line up your seams, and then let's put a pin there, okay? If you like it, then you should have put a pin in it. Whoa. All right, do that side. And then let's go ahead and do this side. I would have loved to have had this when my girls were little. This would also be good for probably carrying car seats. All right, so now we are just going to match this up. We're gonna pin all the way around, but we're gonna leave an opening on our fleece side in the center there, okay? So just match your material up and just pin. Keep going onto the fleece. Like I said, we're gonna leave an opening. So let me put some double pins. The opening about the size of your hand till about maybe, I would say about size of your hand, about 5 inches. Just about that space is good. And I always teach you to put double pins on both sides of your opening so that if you're talking or you get distracted or something happens, you see the double pins and you stop and don't end up closing up your hole. All right, so now we're gonna do is we're gonna take this over to our machine and we're gonna sew double pin to double pin, okay? And our seam allowance again is gonna be 3/8 of an inch. Now, if you have a machine where you can take your arm off, I know that sounds so crazy. I tell you, if people stood around and listened to sewing terms, they would think we were like really crazy people. All right, take that arm off and you can slide your circle onto your machine. My pins got caught underneath here. All right. Slide it on, and then we're gonna stitch that circle. Makes it a whole lot easier to stitch. Wow, y'all are not going to believe it, but we're almost done. I know you're like, Miss Ann, you got to be kidding me. Yes. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip our stuff out through the hole that we left. Keep flipping. Keep flipping. And then you're just going to straighten it out. Look at that. We have a complete circle. Isn't that great? Okay, now what I end up doing is I turn it to the inside. So I flip it to the inside, okay, because I want to access that hole that we left, okay? All right, so go ahead and take your batting. And y'all, it's really not going to matter whether you have, 3 layers, 2 layers, or 4 layers. It's really just giving some shape to this pillow, okay? And you're going to continue to fill it up with polyfill, okay? So this part is going to rest against the cotton area, all right? So what I do is I go ahead and I just kind of fold it just so I can get it in the hole. And I just push it in there and I try to get to about halfway around with it. And then I let it open up. I open it up with my hands, just fitting it in there. Okay. Then I take the other side, and it's already naturally folding, and I go the other direction around the circle till I meet the other side. So this might take a moment for you to make some adjustments, but you want to make sure that both your sides meet all the way around. And you also want to make sure you max out your width this direction as well. And then what I do is I kind of feel around to see how it's feeling. It's feeling good. It's feeling good, and I correct anything that needs to be corrected or flattened out. All right, once I've got it how I want it to be, see I've got a little lump there. Then what I'm gonna do now is take my polyfill, all right? I'm going to take my polyfill, and y'all, I want to say like one of those small bags, should be plenty for this. So take your polyfill, and you're going to begin to just stuff it. Now, we don't want to overstuff this, otherwise we won't be able to get it on our arm, okay? So you can always do an arm test as you go to make sure that you don't overstuff it. All right, once you've gotten it nice and fluffy, just kind of go around it and make sure that everything is all the way at the edges. It feels good. Test it with do an arm test. And then we're gonna close up this hole just doing a ladder stitch, okay? So grab your needle, put you some thread on it, and let's do a ladder stitch together. All right, what I do with my ladder stitches, I take my thread, I make sure it's double layered. That means there's 2 strings going through, and knot it together. All right, you see that? See how it's doubled? Okay, and then I get a nice good knot on the end. Okay, with fleece, you know, if you do a tiny knot, it'll pull right through because it's so dense. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to hide our knot, okay? We want to hide our knot, so let me kind of zoom in here so that y'all can see what I'm doing. So I go in to this inner area here, and I'm just gonna come through, pull through until it stops, and that's gonna hide my knot on the inside. And then I like to work right to left. And I also show you how to do this on our floor cushion video as well, okay? All right, so where I came out, I'm gonna go right across where I came out to the other side of the material. And I'm just gonna go in and out just about 1/4 of an inch, okay? And I'm going to pull my thread and hopefully not get a knot. Now, you don't have to pull tight when you're doing a ladder stitch in the beginning. So go across where you came out to the other side. I'm leaving a space, again, about 1/4 of an inch. And I'm staying in like a fold. See how the fabric is like turning inward? You want to stay in that fold. All right, can you see that? Good job. Now, let's go right across from where we came out again. And we're gonna keep working our way up, just staying in the folded area, okay? Our raw edges should be turned inward, okay? All right, and if you see here, you can kind of see there that it's like creating a ladder. All right, and what you can do is if you give it a little bit of a tug, see how it just closes up right there? So beautifully. I love how fleece does that. All right, keep going until you've closed it up, okay? All right, and how I tie mine off is once I get to the end here, I try to stay close to the seam, okay? And I just go back in and come out the seam again. And then I do a knot, about three loop-de-loops. Then what I do is I go into the material, okay? I go into the material, not all the way through to the cotton side. And I come out the side a little bit, okay? And I pull my thread so I've got a little bit of tail on the inside. And then I cut. All right. Good job. Now what you're gonna do is we're gonna turn it to the right side. This might be a little tricky for some. But just keep flipping it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Just straighten out whatever needs to be straightened out. But y'all, oh my goodness, that was like the quickest project. And most useful, I would say. Look at that. Oh, let's test it out on the arm. Here we go. Oh, that feels so good. Look at that. Now I just need a baby to rest it on. Oh, y'all did such a great job. Y'all, I have loved making these. I'm so glad. Look at this one. How cute is that? If you got a little girly. I did Minky dot on that one. And then we've got our original. And so y'all, I'm telling you, thank you so much for making this with me. This is a great gift. Baby showers, holidays, whatever. I think just because if you see a mama might need one, or like I said, if you see a coworker might need one, if they're napping at their desk, this is so great. It feels so good and comfortable. I hope y'all enjoy it. I loved making this quick project with you. So this is like what, day 2 of our 12 days of Christmas, we said. I had fun doing it. Thank you for supporting us. Continue to like and subscribe. And until next time, until our next project, keep creating and I'll see you later. Bye.